Welcome to our session on new way to get work done made more simple in external workforce. I know it's a lot of words, but we are very excited to share the latest innovations we are doing in this particular area. My name is Bharath Ajendla. I'm a Director of Product Management with SAP S Group, and I'm joined by Qendrim, and he will do his quick intro right now.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Kuqi. I'm cross-product manager in the business technology platform and also joining this session for the day.
Thanks, Qendrim. So we put together the agenda with the right balance of slides as well as demos. We first will discuss why we are even talking about external workforce in the first place, and then talk about our SAP's focus on the end-to-end business processes. And then Qendrim will talk about how we are reinventing the foundation to support our innovation. And then we spend actually time in two demos. One is a system-based demo. The next one is a screenshot-based demo. Again, at any point, if you have questions, use the chat function in the TechEd. And also, we have our contact information at the end for you to reach out to us. I want you to take a moment and read this particular quotation. 42% of the spend right now the organization is going to external workforce. And the COVID times has actually accelerated that particular trend. This means it's very important for us to incorporate external resources and workers seamlessly into the staff, the employees to gain the benefits. Whether you are in a seasonal industry with a seasonal demand, or whether you are procuring resources for the skill that you don't currently have in your staff, and maybe you're doing it for strategic reasons, this session is very relevant. At SAP, our vision evolved over the last several years. SAP has been very successful for providing end-to-end business processes, and we continue to have a focus on that, but with a focus on business networks. The business networks where you have ready to tap in suppliers, whether through Ariba network or through Fieldglass network, for example, to support your end-to-end business processes. And these applications and services can run, are based primarily on our business technology platform. Some of the examples you will see in a minute that provide a consistent foundation, and that in fact can run on either an SAP data center or any of the hyperscalers. And that's the key evolution of a strategy where we wanted to more go into the business network and type of a strategy, but at the same time with a vision to support end-to-end business process. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to incorporate external workforce into your existing employee work pool, you really have to think end-to-end. And recruit to retire is an end-to-end business process that exactly focuses on the understanding, planning, managing, optimizing all aspects of your workforce, whether it is employees or external workers. In a typical organization, procurement team is more concerned about whether you are doing the right kind of spend with the right kind of suppliers, and are you doing it in the compliance way? And suppliers are more concerned about getting their invoices paid. And external workers that you hire, if you make their onboarding easy and the compliance, the trainings easier, then you can gain more productivity. And whereas the employees in your organization, the buyers, are more concerned about finding the right talent at the right time. So again, we really wanted to focus on end-to-end, and that's what our process does. And here, in the mega process recruit retire, we see that can be divided into three different processes. One is the hire to retire, which mainly deals with the life cycle of an employee. Travel to reimburse, that mainly deals with the workers' travel and expense management. And finally, our focus topic, the external workforce, which deals with the life cycle of an external worker, where we need to bring the HR and the external service procurement as well as the finance applications together in an end-to-end fashion in order to serve this particular business need. And that's where our external workforce comes into play. And this is a slide that summarizes our end-to-end process flow of the external workforce. And the detailed blueprints are available in SAP API Business Hub. And here is my question to you. I want you to go to SAP API Business Hub at api.sap.com and look for, go to Recruit to Retire and then drill down and find out the end-to-end business processes documentation for external workforce. Again, they start at a high-level value flows where you will be able to see what are the steps involved, and then be able to drill down to runtime artifacts like what applications are connected to which application, which APIs, and which iFlows, and etc. And here I see, again, I wanted to explain this slide to you because this is where we are bringing the SuccessFactors, which is primarily our HR application. Fieldglass is mainly our service procurement application. And S/4HANA, mainly the finance and the system of record application together in a seamless fashion. And this is currently, we provide out-of-the-box integration for all this. The process here can start SuccessFactors are manually in Fieldglass. And in case it starts in SuccessFactors, you will go to a org chart and select a position that is currently empty because somebody left or somebody has a long-term leave and you want to backfill that position temporarily using external workforce. You would select it and immediately can create a job requisition in Fieldglass automatically with few clicks. And that I have a demo for you on that. And then while you are going through the life cycle of the job posting, the statuses actually flow back to SuccessFactors for your visibility and transparency. Once the job posting is created in Fieldglass, it has to be approved by a manager, and then it's sent to different suppliers where we would submit the candidates, and you rank and rate the candidates, and you interview them, and you select one, and then it creates a work order. And that work order creates a purchase requisition as for HANA to check the budget availability. And once that is approved, the work order is finalized and then we'll send to supplier. And then once all approvals are happened, then it creates a purchase order to make sure that you block everything in S/4HANA Cloud. And remember, SAP Fieldglass is the system of engagement. So the buyers, the suppliers, the external workforce, all are interacting in the Fieldglass application. And the system of record will be S/4HANA Cloud, and the finance processes are running right there. And once external worker is onboarded, the master data from external worker is distributed across the applications, like S/4HANA in this case, using the master data integration services that Qendrim is going to talk about. And when they submit the timesheet is automatically sent to S/4HANA, posted against the PO, and as a service entry sheet. And once those approvals are done, supplier can generate an invoice, or a self-built invoice can be created also. And I'm pretty happy to show you the process later on in the session. So it's an end-to-end process covering all the way from request all the way to the supplier payments. And once again, check out our end-to-end process blueprints in API Business Hub. And if you can't find them, again, please reach out to us. Qendrim, could you tell us a little bit about our common foundation with master data integration services?
Thank you very much, Bharath. If we look today how our integration in our SAP landscape look like, we see that we have a lot of one-to-one integration. For example, where we have Fieldglass with directly connected to SuccessFactors, and Fieldglass also directly connected to S/4HANA, mostly also with middleware in between, like our cloud integration suite. And from that, we want also to move to another way of integration where we have the master data integration service as the key point for the integration. So we have a one-to-many integration where, for example, SuccessFactors in Fieldglass send the employees and workforce person to the SAP master data integration service. From there, it can be read by S/4HANA Cloud, Concur, or the other SAP products. Mostly, as you know, all of these products have different data models. To have here an aligned way, we have also the one-domain model where we then have, for example, for SuccessFactors and Fieldglass, we have the workforce person where they transform the data model to the workforce person and send the data to the SAP master data integration service. And from there, it will be read from the other consumers. to provide here a good integration, we have also different guiding principles that we apply to this integration. The first one is this central integration point, as I showed the master data integration service, who is holding all the data and where you can read also data from your systems. Then the second one is, as I said, is a one domain model as a common language for exchanging the data, because we have different data models for the project. So to align them, we have the one domain model to have here more alignment between the systems. Then we provide you a pre-configured integration, which would mean that you don't need further middleware anymore. You can directly connect your Fieldglass or SuccessFactors or S/4HANA system to the master data integration service. And of course, you have third-party systems, and for there you can also use this integration suite for integrating to them. What for features do we have? We have the extensibility, of course. For everyone, it's important to extend the data model with certain fields and so on. We give you the possibility to enhance the one data model there. We have the optimistic login. As you saw, we have here many systems that write into the master data integration service, like SuccessFactors and Fieldglass. And to keep the data on the high quality, we have also optimistic login to prevent bad data. And of course, we have also the filtering, where you, within the master data integration service, can configure where the data should go to. For example, you can say, okay, in my S4 system, I want only the German external workforce persons, or I want only the US workforce persons. And then we have also the data protection privacy to help you to be compliant with data protection privacy regulations. If you look now at this picture, we have on the left-hand side S/4HANA Cloud, on the right-hand side we have SuccessFactors and Fieldglass, and in the middle we have master integration service as part of our business technology platform. Here in this case, we see that the cost center, who is owned on the S/4HANA side, is sent to the master integration service, and from there it's distributed to SuccessFactors and to Fieldglass. And on the other hand side, SuccessFactors as the owner of the employees, and Fieldglass for the external worker are sent also to the master integration service, and from there it's read from S/4HANA, showing that we have here also reduced a little bit the integration, because both systems write in the MDI, and therefore they are also read by S/4HANA Cloud then. And we have also other integration where you see that from SuccessFactors, HR organizational data and the job classification are sent to the master data integration, therefore also read by the by the Fieldglass system. With that, I'm handing over back to Bharath.
Thank you, Qendrim. Thanks a lot. I mean, I think really the value for the master data integration services is that they reduce the one-to-one integrations in a landscape, and they make the distribution of master data much easier across the various applications in the landscape. And since they are built on the same common data model, so for example, employee data will not look very much different from external worker. You can actually innovate with more business processes, and also you can drive more analytics on top of the same common data model. So I think that's really cool. So the next several minutes, we're going to spend some time on looking at some cool demos, starting with how do you do a faster and accurate close with the evaluated receipt settlement. This is with self-billing. So in a typical day-to-day life cycle of external worker, they submit their time and expenses, and they have to be approved by the buyer. And once they're approved, the supplier generates an invoice and sends it. And once the supplier sends the invoice, there's this process runs called three-way matching. It could be sometimes manual, it could be rule-based, some machine learning approaches, but they're very time-consuming because the supplier invoice could be pretty big with multiple line items from different external workers, different time periods. And you have to make sure that it all matches up to what's already been approved, what you agreed on the purchase order level. And but we brought in a feature called evaluated receipt settlement. It's also known as self-billing. In this case, you don't have your suppliers to send invoice to pay them. And that's the beauty of the process. Here, the external workers records the time, and once the buyer is approves the time or expenses, a self-billed invoice is automatically generated and the supplier gets paid. The invoice is distributed to the supplier. So in this fashion, no need for waiting for the supplier invoice, no ping pong. So there are many benefits to this process, and we are pretty excited about this process because it automatically settles the transaction as soon as the time or expense sheet is approved, and you can avoid invariances in the invoice, why the supplier invoice is low or high, and all the adjustments. And then it allows you to close the transactions much faster. And most importantly, the tax management is also centralized. Now it happens in S/4HANA, so that you don't have to worry how the suppliers are doing whether they're doing the tax calculation. So it increases your compliance. So the next few minutes, I'll spend some time showing you the demo in the system.
Hello, welcome to our demo. Our demo consisting of 5 steps. We start with the external worker submitting the time. Here we are logging as if an external worker logs into their portal, and here I'm completing a timesheet as an external worker. I'm entering 8 hours, total 24 hours for that week that I've worked as an external worker, and submitting it. Once it submits, as usual, it in the status of pending for approval, because timesheets or expenses need to be approved by a buyer or a manager. And here the buyer, typically the employee of an organization, approves the timesheet. Again, logged in as a buyer, I go to timesheet, and here I can see all the timesheets that are waiting for my approval. I select the one that just was submitted. From here I can see the hours, and also on the top you can see the amount, and then I click approve. As you can see, there is a ERS flag set to true. This is actually inherited from the purchase order, and purchase order inherits from the supplier master data. So you can set this ERS flag for certain suppliers, and certain suppliers you can make it flexible. And then the third step is, when you approve a timesheet, it creates a service entry sheet in S4. That's the reason we are going to the service entry sheet app in S4HANA Cloud. And here you have a reference of the timesheet ID here, which is coming from Fieldglass, and you can see the amount. And we send only amounts as a service entry sheet to S4HANA Cloud, and it's auto approved. Because it's already, the approval is taking place in Fieldglass, and Fieldglass is a system of engagement, and S4 is a system of record. And as you can see, the document flow, the purchase requisition, purchase order there, and service entry sheet. Here behind the scenes, the ERS job runs, which is our fourth step in the demo. It's on a schedule basis. It runs every few minutes based on the schedule that you needed. And the beauty of that is, for the approved service entry sheet, it generates the invoice automatically, this for a particular background job. So you don't have to wait for the supplier to send you the invoice. So let's refresh the screen. And if you look at the document flow, now you see that supplier invoice has been created. It's like a self-billed invoice. And compared to the service entry sheet, the amount in the invoice is slightly more. It's because this is coming from the taxes. Again, you can see the invoice status is posted. That's the amount, but again, there is some 19% additional taxes were calculated. So this helps you as a buyer to centrally manage the taxes also, so you don't have to verify what supplier is doing. And here I went back to the Fieldglass application because I wanted to show you how the existing timesheet is the status is actually updated from S4. In this case, earlier the timesheet was in pending for approval. Now it is invoiced. And not only that, for each timesheet, you could see the corresponding invoice and the status. In this case, it's paid. As a supplier, you can log into SAP Fieldglass and look at the status and also the invoice details here. And you can see the amounts and also the adjustments that are made because of the taxes and everything. So this gives you full transparency as a supplier.
Hope you enjoyed the demo. Like I mentioned, the self-billing via ERS process will make your business process run much faster. And you'll be able to make sure that you maintain a very healthy relationship with the suppliers because you're going to pay them on time. And next demo is more on a screenshot-based demo that I'm going to share. is mainly brings together SAP SuccessFactors, Fieldglass, and S/4HANA together in a seamless end-to-end fashion, because as the more and more spend on the external workforce is increasing, you want to bring the external workforce and employees together in a seamless fashion. And this demo will give you that. In this case, you are looking at SAP SuccessFactors screen of the org chart, where in this case the particular position has been in empty, and you want to backfill. You decided to backfill that position with a temporarily external workforce. In that case, you simply right-click on that and create a SAP Fieldglass requisition. At this point, it automatically creates a job posting in SAP Fieldglass application, and it automatically selects the right job template to post with based on the position. Because if the position is account payables, or let's say your position is a certain position, it automatically selects the right job template. And then the job posting has to be approved by your manager. And once the approval is done, again, they can use, these approvals can happen in SAP Fieldglass, or we have an application called SAP Task Center, where the different approvals and workflows will flow through one application, so that you don't have to do the approvals in individual applications, and it makes the life of the managers and management make easy. And once this is approved in either way, the job posting is sent to different suppliers, and where they will provide the candidates, where he would review, rate, and then you maybe interview them, and then select an appropriate candidate of your choice. And then it starts the onboarding process. But remember, before you start the onboarding, there are legal aspects. I mean, these are legal contracts need to be signed. So the purchase order will be created based on the SAP Fieldglass work order. And throughout this process, SAP SuccessFactors also gets status updates that the job posting has been approved, the work order has been created. Those status updates flow back for your visibility and transparency reasons. And the purchase order gets created, and purchase order actually creates like almost like a blocks the budget from the respective cost center or cost object, so that that you are blocking it for the consumption of this particular external worker for the period that you are planning to. And the external worker submits the time, which becomes a service entry sheet in SAP S/4HANA. And then a supplier creates an invoice if you don't do self-billing, like I showed you earlier. And then it's a supplier invoice, and then you issue a payment. So that is how 3 different applications come together in a seamless fashion using the shared common data foundation to create an end-to-end process. And that's what we wanted to share. That this if you're looking to innovate on your service procurement business processes, this is definitely something you may find it very beneficial. And the key takeaways for me, I would start actually from the bottom of the slide. Most importantly, the end-to-end business blueprints, like I mentioned, are published in the SAP API Business Hub. I want you to find on your own, drill down and see the runtime artifacts, and provide your important feedback to us, especially that is useful for solution architects, integration architects who are in the life cycle of implementing and integrating solutions. And if you are more interested in our roadmap, that could be found in the SAP Roadmap Explorer, the link down below there. And if you are someone from CIO office and are a customer or a partner who want to know more about our integration strategy, you can find the links on the top there, the latest blog and the integration strategy from our SAP board members. That's where we lay out our strategy and how we are bringing various SAP applications together in end-to-end business processes supported by a common data model. Remember, like the external workforce, the worker is not the only foundational object. Like Qendrim mentioned, the cost center, the work breakdown structure from which are project controlling objects, the supplier, job classifications, and all those are also now available as master data integration services. And more objects such as company code, plant, GL accounts are planned in the future. So all the master data, our goal is to the master data distribution becomes much easier across applications, so we can more innovate, provide more innovative business processes and provide more analytics to measure and analyze your business. And we have provided some key blogs from hire to retire, because again, hire to retire and external workforce, we are part of this mega process called recruit to retire, because you should be able to work with your employees as well as external workforce seamlessly with a common set of standards of onboarding, offboarding, etc. And then two important sessions that you are further interested in that are related on the aligned data model, and also the session on the how do you connecting people across the intelligent enterprise. And there are some free open SAP courses on Fieldglass are also listed here. The main key takeaways are that, again, we at SAP look at end-to-end business processes, and we wanted to connect the people across the intelligent enterprise, whether it's employees or external workforce. That's why we wanted to bring together the HR application, which is SuccessFactors, procurement application, in this case Fieldglass, and finance application as S/4HANA together. And but when we bring them together, we wanted to build on a common foundation. And in that way, we can improve the visibility into the cost controls, and also create a transparent, well-functioning organization. And here we have some more learning opportunities from TechEd. If you want to accelerate your career as architects and experts, and these would definitely help out. So please check it out. So I think there are some good discounts available too. Again, if you have any questions on where to find content, if you want to learn more, here is our contact information, and hope you enjoyed our session.
Also, a big thank you from my side, and enjoy the rest of the TechEd session.